everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Business Shower. Today, I have a very special guest with me, someone I have deep respect and regard for. Meet with Spencer Lodge. He is one of the sales experts and wonderful coaches in Dubai. He's the chairman of the Blue Sky Thinking Group, which is a parent company of three award-winning brands. Then he is also training wonderful salespeople and business professionals in Make It Happen University, where people learn different strategies for making their business successful and have growth hacks. So, welcome to the show, Spencer. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation.
I would never let you down. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure and a great honor to have you with me today. A very wonderful morning for everybody. October is here. Weather is lovely. We are all in good moods now, all ready for great business, I see, because there have been so many meetings recently that make me realize we are all set to make it happen.
Indeed, yes.
All right. So to begin with, our first question of the day is, how as business owners can we be successful now in a reviving economy when things are once again getting back to a normal pace of running businesses?
Well, there's a couple of things to consider. Number one, what is it your business does and is it relevant? Lots has changed for us over the last 6 or 7 months, and is what you sell and is your business relevant now? And if it is, great. And if it isn't, then what are you going to do about it? A lot of people get kind of tied up in their belief system around their business or their industry, but they don't focus on their potential customer or their potential client or the marketplace. And so you have to ask the question, is this relevant to your business? Things have changed. And so because they've changed, is anybody buying a new car right now? Many people aren't. And they're worried about their salaries. They're worried about their futures. So they're selling a luxury item that maybe there's going to be less demand for now than there was before. So it's really important that you understand your own business before you think about sales and getting revenue through the door. You've got to think about, is your business relevant to today's market? And if it is, great. And if it isn't, then you need to rethink.
True. So what I gather from your answer is that it's very important for us as business owners to understand what is the market demand at the moment and why that market demand exists, what we can do about answering that demand, how we can meet that need from the people. This is the primary thing that we should be thinking of. So when it comes to understanding the demands, and when we see that there is no demand for a high-priced luxury item or a high-priced service, what strategies can we use to create demand? Any ideas about that?
Again, you're dealing with such a broad question over so many different industries, and we're not being specific here, which represents a problem in the question alone. But if there is not demand in you, and it's really easy. You have to look at your business plan. It's like a lot of people just miss this bit, the obvious bit. If you were looking at my advice to every business owner is, if you were looking at a friend's business or a family member business, maybe you'd be less emotional. Maybe you'd be more pragmatic. Maybe you'd actually have answers for them that were less tied into a passion around a particular product or service. And you'd just be looking at things like numbers, that the data doesn't lie. And it tells the truth. Your opinion's irrelevant, but the data tells everything. And that's what you'd look at. You'd look at those numbers. And so if you're selling a luxury item right now that people don't need, then I would be thinking to myself, how can I reposition myself to be not selling luxury or selling luxury at a price, an economical price? And considering those types of approaches rather than just kind of like digging your heels in and saying, no, this is my product, this is my service, we're going to sell it. Also understand, if you sell, I'll stick with the car thing for an example, if you sell Rolls Royces or Bentleys, then you need to look at the people that have made money during the pandemic. There are people out there that have made a lot of money in the pandemic. And are you marketing to that demographic better? Are you marketing differently? Are you thinking about how you approach them differently? Are there new people that have come into that sector now that have created wealth in the last 6 months that didn't have it before? And what are you doing to communicate with those people? And then also think about what value you actually bring to the market. You know, for me, so many business owners misunderstand this. You know, 25 years ago, you would sell something and then you'd offer wonderful after-sales service. Well, nowadays, you have to offer the service before you sell something. So it's really important, really important that you understand that you've got to give before you take. And just still too many business owners are just blind to that. You know, I need my money first. Well, guess what? People can go and research your product online. They can research your service online. They can look at all of the competitors online before they even engage with you. And if other competitors are out there offering some form of service and value to that prospect before you do, then guess what? You're going to lose the business.
Yes, true. Agree with you. So coming to, let's narrow it down. Let's narrow down the discussion. Coming to one person's own business, a solopreneur's business or an entrepreneur's business who has recently started, let's say, a business which is 1 or 2 years old, and then due to COVID-19, their sales were less. For such entrepreneurs, what could be a good strategy for prospecting?
Give me an industry and let's make it.
Services. Let's say services. Let's say services related to coaching, related to training.
Okay, fair enough. We can do that. Look, I have an issue with coaches, period, because I think that people that teach people to do something that have never done it themselves are in a very precarious place. And so for me, if you have a service that you offer, you know, I don't know, let's say you teach people how to be millionaires, but you've never been a millionaire yourself. Let's say you teach people dentistry, but you've never been a dentist yourself. Let's say you teach people meditation, but you can't meditate yourself. You know, whatever it may be, I'm going to see you as a fraud. And I'm going to see you as a fraud pretty quickly. So whilst the good times are rolling and people weren't analysing that maybe, I think people will analyse that now.
If people can see through that.
That's right. And if you are a coach, then what is it that you're doing to demonstrate to the marketplace, to the social media networks that you're valuable? What is it you're giving to demonstrate your value? You know, you and I sat here today talking. Are you getting paid for this right now, Nooshin?
No.
No, neither am I. So neither of us are right. We're bringing some value to people, aren't we?
Yes. This is for the audience, for our audience, so that they are able to make better business. That's
right. But you are doing it for free by demonstrating to your audience that you bring value first. You're demonstrating that you then reach out to people like me. You get me to come on this live with you so that they can get some value from me and they can get some value from you. Correct?
Yes, correct. Absolutely.
So that's bringing something first. So if you're in the coaching industry, bring something first. Go live every day on social media. Give people tips, give people ideas, give people strategies. Go live for 5 minutes, go live for 15 minutes. You know, do stuff every day where you can demonstrate you're valuable. Create client case studies. And I don't mean on your website where Mr. Smith did this and said that. That's not a case study. A case study is where you get Mr. Smith to say, I worked with Spencer. This was the start of the journey. This was the middle of the journey, and this is the outcome. I'll wholeheartedly recommend it. You know, a LinkedIn recommendation's nice if it's detailed, but it's not enough. You need actually to be able to demonstrate that. And then just constantly bring value. And remember something, the more value you bring, the more interest you'll gather. So don't sit there saying to yourself, oh, well, I've done 5 videos and nobody's approached me, so that's a load of rubbish. Okay, try doing 50 videos. Try doing 500 videos. Try understanding that you can, you know, I remember when the lockdown came and you had me on your podcast thing. You know, I've had a podcast now for nearly 2 years and I'm very grateful for the guests that I've had. And when I caught up with you a few months ago, you'd done 30 podcasts in 30 days. And I was like, damn, wow, that's dedication. And I still tell people to this day about the fact that you did that. And I was like, holy macaroni, you know, I've got to go a lot faster and a lot harder to be able to keep up with Nooshin. And so, and again, what were you doing? You were reaching out to people, you were asking them questions, you were sharing some value with your audience so that your audience saw you in the place that you're in, and so they saw value from you. On the back of that, that's where the leverage comes. So if you are an entrepreneur, and it's a fancy word really, and it shouldn't be used. If you're a solopreneur, again, you're a small business owner and you want to find clients, don't just think you have to spend money on adverts to get attraction. What you need to do is to create content that's valuable. You need to document your journey. You need to demonstrate empathy, and you need to show people that you, before they ask anything of you, that you are an expert at what you do and you're really valuable to them. And I think that's really important right now. And you know, it's just becoming more and more important all of the time. Now, some people are out there focused on lead generation, but it's not about lead generation. It's about being valuable first so that you generate high quality leads and not just numbers and names and email addresses.
True, true. So how can we differentiate between high quality leads and low quality leads?
Again, by definition, quite simply, a low quality lead. I was actually doing some work with a company recently that they run an online webinar. From the online webinar, they then convert people to a Calendly appointment, and they're generating a large number of appointments. However, when it comes to actually attending those meetings, the salespeople, 75% of the people don't show up. And when they do, they're not the right demographic or income bracket for that particular company. So to me, it's a waste of time doing it that way. You've got to think differently about what you're doing. So, and again, you can target. Facebook allows you with demographics and psychographics, and LinkedIn allows you with job titles and nationality and location and stuff like that, and industry. You know, get smart around those types of things. Identify, design who your perfect prospect client avatar is. What do they look like? What do they wear? Where do they go? How do they behave? What do they enjoy? What kind of job do they have? What kind of frustrations do they have? What kind of income do they make? You know, design that yourself. Be very clear on who that person is, and then that's when the journey starts of getting the high quality prospect. Because all of us would rather speak to 2 red hot prospects a day than 20 old names and numbers.
True, true, true. There is one question from someone. This is Fariha Arshad. She is a sales representative for Cloud ERP services in Pakistan. And for her, clients are firstly not ready to listen, or they're too thoughtful to spend, and they drop out midway. So what she asks, what can we do?
Yeah, the question, clients are firstly not ready to listen. Well, I disagree with you. People are spending more and more time on social media every single day. What does your client look like? What does your perfect client look like, Faria? That's the first thing to understand. Secondly, okay, how are you going to create something that's engaging for them? If you're just out there trying to sell them, they know you're trying to sell them. So you're not demonstrating any value. If you create the value first, then people will listen. They drop out midway. They drop out midway because you're not interesting enough. You're not valuable enough. And whether you like it or not, you can argue till you're blue in the face. If people drop out midway, they're not as interested in your product as you are. And so again, we can talk about our product in Cloud ERP services. Okay, so that's enterprise resource planner services. That's HR systems. And again, I understand that industry, but who's what you're selling valuable to? Now, who makes the decision within an organization? How are you engaging with that person in the first place? Are you just reaching out and doing a typical LinkedIn? This is what we do. Can we have a meeting, please? Okay. Or are you sending them emails? Well, what is the way you're reaching out to these people? Have you demonstrated any value? Have you shown them any value? Have you demonstrated any client case studies, what you've done? What are you actually doing before you speak to them? Because all you end up getting to, if you don't do it the correct way, is you get out to a place where you talk about something called price. And when you talk about something called price, there's always someone that can do it cheaper. And so that's the last thing you want to deal with. Sell on value, don't sell on price. So that's what my answer would be for you, Faria.
It's very true. Thank you so much for a detailed answer, Spencer. It's very useful. Huda El-Suki said, being valuable first. So you generate high quality leads. Yes, it's true. Like Spencer has said, if you show your value, if you demonstrate value to your clients, they are more readily going to buy from you. Now, when it comes to creating a sales funnel, and when we are taking the clients through the funnel towards a conversion, what do you think can motivate them to not to drop out of the funnel, apart from value?
Well, first things first, a funnel is meant to have people drop out of it. So if you put 100 people in the top of a hopper in a funnel, then you're not going to get 100 out the bottom. That's just not the way.
That's not possible.
A funnel essentially is filtering out people to get to a place where you've got the right people at the end. So that funnel, whether you're using, I don't know, a ClickFunnels approach and you're using that type of process, or your funnel quite simply is you're dropping 100 people into an email prospecting process. Not everyone's going to be interested. Don't take it personally. Your product and service isn't perfect for everyone. Your product and service doesn't matter to everyone. And you know what? You may not be the right person for everybody, regardless of your product or service. Don't take it personally. If you're going to put a load of names in the top of a hopper, a load of people into the top of a funnel, what were you expecting? Everybody to come out the right way? No, that's not how it works. So accept if 100 people go in the top and, 5 great people come out the bottom, then guess what? Go find another 100, go find another 1,000, go find another 10,000 to be able to do that too.
It's true. Absolutely. Absolutely. What determines a client's buying decision? When is it exactly that decision is happening in your experience, usually?
The client's buying decision happens when you qualify the client. So this is where you get into a conversation on Zoom, face-to-face, on the phone call, where you're qualifying the client. Why do people not buy your product? There's no need, no trust, no time, no money. These are the reasons people don't buy your product. No need, no trust, no time, no money, no interest, is the 5th one. So for you to, if somebody is interested in what you do, they have the time to listen to you. They have the need for what you're selling, okay, and they have the money, well, then guess what? They're in a good place to buy, but you don't determine that. They determine that. It's their money after all, whether that's B2C or B2B. They determine that. However, on a phone call, this is where you ask qualifying questions. Mr. Prospect, this is what we offer. If we can provide a solution for X, Y, and Z that you've told us is a problem, is that something you'd like to look into in more detail? Yes, it would. Okay. If you looked into it in detail and you found that we were the right company to provide that solution and could create a better outlook for you and your business moving forward, would that be something you'd be willing to engage with? Yes, I would. Okay, when? And in the not too distant future. Okay, well, in the not too distant future, is that the next few days, few weeks, few months, or few years? That's in the next few months. Okay, fine. So what could I do to get you to make a decision sooner? What is it you would need from me so that you can make a decision sooner? If they say there's nothing you can do, okay, fine. Okay, keep asking questions. If they say, actually, what we'd want is to be able to get X, Y, and Z solved in A, B, and C time. If you could do that, then we'd be keen to move quicker. Okay, great. I know where I stand. I know what I need to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. Okay, I jotted down a quick question while you were talking. What are some good ways to make a cold prospect get warmer again towards our brand and be more willing to buy from us?
Say that again.
What kind of conversation do we get into?
Okay, ask me the question fully again. I didn't get it, hon.
All right. What are some good ways of making a cold prospect warm again towards the brand?
Okay, so you're talking about completely cold prospects that have never heard or dealt with you. Is that the type of prospect you mean?
A prospect that was interested in buying, but then he went very cold all of a sudden.
Okay.
And he said, okay, I'm going to retreat.
So if there was a prospect that was interested that went cold, what you have to remember is that you messed up. Don't blame the prospect. You have to kind of own it. And the reason they went cold is that at the time they made a decision that they felt either you weren't the right company, the right person, the right product for them. They felt that. So they've gone cold, but also you gave them control. So I see a lot of the time salespeople putting in proposals. So they go and meet the prospect. The prospect says, I'm interested in X, Y, and Z. Oh, I'll do a proposal for you. And then hopefully we'll get together in the next week or two. But the moment you send a proposal out is the moment you put the power into the hands of the prospect. You lose all control. They dictate the decision-making process, and then you play the game of chase. So you follow up with phone calls if they answer. If they don't, you follow up with an email. Maybe if they don't answer an email, maybe you follow up with a trip to their office. But they have full control. And if they say to you, let me think about it, I'll come back to you later on, or give me another month, you're left standing. And that's not the place you need to be. You need to make sure that it's very clear before that happens what the decision-making process is, who's involved in it, and who needs to be around the table. Okay, and so it goes back to my part I said earlier: no need, no time, no money, no trust, and no interest.
Is there any way in which the proposal will not give 100% control to the buyer?
No.
There is no way.
No, the moment you send the proposal out is the moment you have given your product, your specifications, your service, your pricing. Okay, you've just given it all to them. Then why shouldn't they take it and read it and take their time?
Okay.
You just can't run a business that way. You have to get it clear in advance. Mr. Prospect, I can send you a proposal for sure, but this is how it works. I send a proposal and then all of a sudden I have to sit there waiting for you to come back to me. And that's not how I work. What is it I need to do? Tell me before we even go there, what do I need to do to secure your business? And these types of questions, most salespeople, they're terrified of. But all you're doing is, if you don't ask these direct questions, then all you're going to do is create lots of prospects that you warm up for your competitors to close.
All right. So, what I have noticed is a lot of salespeople are reluctant to take charge. They are a little bit unwilling to dictate the rules to their potential prospects. They feel that if they try to do that, the prospects would feel that they are trying to control them and they will retreat and they will not make a buying decision in their favor. Do you think that's why?
95% of salespeople that exist out there are terrible salespeople. They wonder why they struggle. They wonder why they can't close business. What school did they go to learn how to sell? They've all been and got a business degree, but they can't sell for toffee. And they can't sell for toffee because they've never been formally trained how to do it. And so then they get frustrated. And again, that exact example you just mentioned was blaming the prospect. What are you doing to take responsibility yourself? Selling is a skill. It's an art form that you need to learn and beat on this craft for years and years to become really good at it. You must sell something you really care about, that really matters, that's going to make a difference. And so I think a lot of salespeople kind of like, I don't want to be too pushy. Yeah, you're pushy if you're a bad salesperson. Well, I don't want to be too controlling. Well, you're controlling if you're a bad salesperson. Selling is very simple when you know how to do it and really frustrating when you don't. So ask yourself, Mr. Salesperson out there, ask yourself a question right now. When was the last time you read a book about professional sales? When was the last time you went on a course to learn how to be a professional salesperson? What structure have you got with continual professional development to be working on your sales skills? Because if none of that is in there, apart from a sales meeting every Sunday morning where you go through some sales results, then guess what? You've got a really good chance of failing, becoming miserable, potentially becoming depressed, and then deciding that sales is a crap, rubbish job and it's something you don't want to do. All because you didn't know how to do it and you hold somebody external from you accountable for that skill.
Right. So sales training is a must-have. And it has to be done more than often, rather than just practicing the stale strategies that we learned some 15 years back.
Look, my neighbor recently had an operation on his shoulder. And he's a strong Lebanese man. He's one of these kind of alpha male types, yeah? He's I live here on the Palm. He's always out on his boat and doing stuff. He's always kind of doing stuff in his garage. He's a strong man with muscle. 62 years old. And he had a problem with his shoulder. So he had an operation on his shoulder. His arm was in a sling. Then the operation failed. He had to have another operation. And I was with him just the day before yesterday. And he said, look at my knuckle, Spencer. It's gone. It's wasted away. He said, literally, that one there, strong, this one's gone. He said, isn't it astonishing how quickly your muscle strength dissipates? And a good example, if anybody goes to the gym or works out, go on vacation for 2 weeks and then come back and start working out again. And it's really hard. You've got to build it up again, haven't you? Yes. That's the same as your sales skills. You learn them, but you have to keep practicing them to build them up and keep them strong. Psychology plays such an important part. And a good example is this. Let's say we have a prospect meeting this morning at 10 o'clock. And that prospect meeting we go and see, and that prospect is really keen to do business with you. They can't wait to get started. They'll start next week. Just send the paperwork over to get signed off. You can come and collect your check tomorrow. How do you feel when you leave that meeting? You're on fire. You're like, yeah. You get in the car, you punch the ceiling. You're like, yes. You message somebody, you call somebody, your wife, your husband, your boss. Like, yeah.
I do it.
In that moment, you're invincible. Now, you've got that energy, that confidence, that belief, that self-esteem. And then you don't see another prospect until 6 p.m. the very same day. Well, during the course of the day, that confidence dies off, that self-esteem drops and lowers. And then you get to the end of the day and you've got to build yourself back up again to see a prospect. Salespeople need to be seeing prospects 4 times a day, 10, 12, 2, 4 every day. And you need to be going from your 10 o'clock with your confidence to your 12 o'clock with your confidence. And if you get to a 2 o'clock and they say no, no worries. I've got all the confidence from all the other meetings I'm doing because I've got that consistency. So many salespeople see 1 or 2 or maybe 3 actual prospects a week. And it's just like, what do you think is going to happen to your psychology? The same as your muscle. It's going to get weak.
That's the point. Okay, we have 3 questions from 3 different viewers. The first one is from a LinkedIn user who says, how has COVID changed the client behavior and buying capacity?
I've got no idea what industry you're talking about. Client behavior. Clients are going to be spending more money on PPE stuff. They're going to be spending more money in certain areas. They're going to be buying more stuff online. However, they're probably not going to spend in other areas. So it's industry specific. So I can't really tell you. And again, buying capacity. Again, give us some information around the industry and I can be really helpful. Give me a generic and I just don't know which industry you're in. And some industries are flying right now. Some industries are booming like crazy right now. But there are some industries that are falling flat on their face. So be a bit more specific and I'll bring some value to you.
Yes, thank you. So we have another one from Sakina. She says, we are into hospitality and service businesses. Please give us some ideas to how to overcome the downfall in current pandemic.
Okay, so basically you're in the hospitality industry, which was devastated through the pandemic. Restaurants closed, hotels closed, people aren't traveling, absolutely devastated. This is a really good example of something I really believe, that you should be reconsidering in terms of your future. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic I think it was April, the boss of the Marriott Group said in 2008 and in the financial crisis and when 9/11 happened, we were devastated by our revenues. We just managed to keep going. However, revenues were 35% down. When COVID happened, they were 85% down. And he said, I'm not sure that the Marriott Group, as big a chain of hotels as it is going to survive. So first of all, I'd say, are you in the right industry? Secondly, if you're in the hospitality sector, you have to look out of what your norms were. So where you did business before may not be where you do business in the future. You know, hotels here in Dubai started offering deals on staycations because people were here and stayed in Dubai. You know, we know that in the summer in Dubai, people generally leave, or lots of people leave and take their vacations. However, this summer they didn't. So what are you doing to attract the local marketplace rather than maybe the overseas marketplace? What are you doing to generate interest? What value are you bringing before anything else? And so you really need to think about your strategy to bring value and get attention in a very competitive market. So there's lots to it. Any other questions? Nusheen, are you there?
Yes, okay. Yes, we have one more question. It's from Shiraz Hashemi. He's asking, is it fruitful for e-commerce company to go on field along with the social media advertising or campaigns?
Okay, so an e-commerce company, depending on what you're selling as well, but e-commerce is, you know, Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world and he is Mr. E-commerce, isn't he? Anyone that's in the e-commerce space has absolutely smashed it over the course of the last 6 or 7 months because everyone started buying stuff online rather than going to shops because they're all closed. So again, social media and advertising campaigns for e-commerce are critical. The right type of campaign, the right type of social media is critical too. And again, how can an e-commerce company increase its B2B sales? What do you sell? I don't know what you sell, so I can't give you specific information around that until I know what you sell. Are you selling groceries, or are you selling, DIY equipment? What are you selling? I've got no idea.
Yeah. So if it is specific, we will be able to answer it more clearly. But
Yeah, sure.
e-commerce is also a way of selling, and it's not, and it's industry specific. So a lot of industries are booming through e-commerce. A lot of small businesses might not be booming through e-commerce. It depends on strategies. It depends on scale. It depends on their target buyers. It also depends on the market where they are existing.
Again, if you're in the e-commerce sector, in the midst of the pandemic, you probably would have been selling hand sanitizer like crazy, okay? And you probably wouldn't be selling luxury cars or luxury jewelry or luxury watches in the e-commerce sector. People all of a sudden stopped and realized that they hadn't got much money in savings. I don't remember what the stats were, but on average, Americans had, a statistic I saw is Americans had on average at the beginning of the pandemic about 5% of their annual salary in savings. However, as the pandemic then hit and grew through the first 3 months, that went up to 29%. People started to realize that they were spending money on stuff called subconscious spend. That's what they spend without thinking about it. And everybody does it. Everybody does it. There's some people that like to carry cash around so that they can just be aware of the money they're spending rather than banging the credit card on the machine and spending crazily. So there were, from an e-commerce perspective, again, if I was selling stuff online, what would I be focused on selling? Stuff that I do research on that people were interested in buying at that particular time. Just like now, we've got Halloween coming up. I'd be selling stuff that people can have for Halloween. We have, in the UK, we have bonfire night. And so what do people need for then? You've got all of these, Thanksgivings coming up as well. So I'd be thinking about that. On top of Thanksgiving, then you have Christmas to follow. So what about that? If you were selling in England right now, you probably do well selling umbrellas because it rains a lot at this time of the year. If you're selling suntan lotion in England online at the moment, you're probably going to struggle, but you probably could sell suntan lotion here more effectively. So it's all specifically around what the marketplace is demanding at the moment. And that's in the FMCG space.
It's true. Absolutely true. How can we innovate into sales practices? What are some innovation lines for us there?
Well, look, I think that people have to understand that if you want to be a lawyer, you have to pass the bar exam, which means you have to go study the bar exam, which means you have to pay to study so that you can get past the bar. And when you pass the bar exam and you become a lawyer, guess what? You can get a great job and you can be well paid.
Yeah.
You can go and work for a law firm as a legal secretary or work in the post room, but the chances are you're never going to make lawyer. So it's the same as anything, I'm never going to be a physiotherapist unless I go and learn to be a physiotherapist and then build a business around my qualified practice. I keep harping back to this because people just keep missing it. Innovation in sales means you have to start off with a baseline of sales knowledge. And a baseline of sales knowledge doesn't come, through you owning a business and sending a few emails out. Look at Mark Cuban. Look at all of the most successful people in the world. Look at Warren Buffett. Look at all of the most successful people in the world. They tell you one of the key ingredients to be successful in business is to learn how to sell. You've got to sell yourself at a job interview. You've got to sell yourself, when you're running a team of people. You've got to negotiate with your team and sell your ideas to them. You've got to sell products to your customers, clients, or whatever you want to call them. That's such a key ingredient. No business succeeds without sales. Every business out there, if there's no sales, Facebook has no money unless it sells advertising space. Jeff Bezos has no money unless he sells products. Hospitals have no money unless they sell services to patients. Everyone's selling something. So why didn't you take it seriously and learn how to be a great salesperson? If you're a great lawyer, you have to get clients. Clients come by you selling your services. Why are we misunderstanding this over and over again? Whatever you do, it doesn't matter how skilled you are about the subject matter The key ingredient here is find customers or clients that bring revenue into your business. And the way you do that is by understanding, studying, and becoming a master of sales. And there's no getting around it. We can't massage it or fluff around it. We can't shortcut the system. It just doesn't exist. So learn those skills. Focus number one. Revenue in your business means your business survives. No revenue in your business means it goes bankrupt or it's a hobby. Simple as that. Okay.
True.
And I would argue that it's better to be able to sell really well something that's average than to have something that's amazing and not know how to sell it.
Yes. So sales is crucial. And for this, you need training. Spencer, I would like to know, how do we register for a sales training program with you?
So look, what I tried to do with my training program is I tried to make it accessible to everybody. And the reason is that I've been fortunate enough to be successful in my life, and I just want people to win. I just want people to be successful. And so instead of charging thousands of dollars to be trained by me, I have a program that I offer, which essentially is a combination of me coaching you along with an e-learning platform that I've created. So basically what it is an online university which has 450 training videos in, along with tests, PDF documents for you to learn the A to Z of sales. But I know that not everybody learns everything on an e-learning platform. So what I do is I combine that with group coaching every single week, the same time every week, where all of my community get coached by me as a group between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. in on Dubai time every single week. It's every Tuesday night at that time. And so everybody gets the e-learning, plus they get the coaching, every question relating to their business, every situation that they're in, I handle and deal with and show them. On top of that, the community works together. There's people within the community that help each other, are prospects for each other's businesses, and help share their network. That's not an official part of it. It's an unofficial part of it, but it works incredibly well because I make people work together. And all that, the only investment people have to make is $197 a month. It's nothing, and
this is very affordable.
For everybody. And by being affordable for everybody, that means that if you're serious about your career, okay, you spend more money on your mobile phone bill than you spend on this. You spend more money on stuff you don't need. How much does $197 doesn't even buy you a family meal for 4 in Dubai anymore? It's the price of a Starbucks on a croissant every day for you to get me next to you, guiding you and coaching you along with all of my e-learning strategies. And I think that people have a fighting chance of creating success that way.
Yes, definitely, sure. Kindly share the link with me for the course. I will have it in the comments plus in the description, and we will be able to sign up in order to benefit from the course. Because, SpencerLodge.tv.
Very simple, SpencerLodge.tv, nice and simple.
Yes, I will share it now. Here.
Sure.
So you can simply go to SpencerLodge.tv and register for a sales training program. It will help you understand why some of your strategies are not working. You will be personally coached by Spencer Lodge as well, and he will be able to guide you with making your sales a winning process. Thank you so much for being with me today, Spencer. Your time is extremely valuable for us. We learned a lot of different strategies, different tips from you, and we look forward to interacting with you in future more. And I will send more invitations. Please say yes every time I do that.
Do me a favor, everybody, if you're really keen to follow my content, go and look me up on Instagram at spencer.lodge or on LinkedIn at Spencer Lodge. Connect with me there. There's lots of great valuable content there. Or if you want to, I have a podcast that has Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, Les Brown, Dr. John DeMartini, you name it. All of the big greats are there on my podcast. So go follow my podcast. It's called the Spencer Lodge Podcast. Go and sign up and register for it and get it on your mobile phone, because new episodes come up every single week and they'll bring some value to you, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, and we will definitely connect with you for
I'll
more.
see you again soon. Nice to see you, and thanks for having me, Nasheen.
Thank you. Take care. Bye. Bye for now, everyone. Please, if you have more questions, connect with Spencer on LinkedIn. You can also find him on his website with the address spencerlodge.tv, or listen to his podcast, the Spencer Lodge Podcast, and you will get a lot of useful tips and ideas just for free, and it will be great. If you have questions, please connect with us and with Spencer. We will definitely help you out. Take care. Bye for now.